Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to another session on generative AI for data analytics. How do we use it in Microsoft Excel? So why do we use Excel for in the first place? Excel is used for data management, it is used for data analysis, and it is used for data visualization. Right? Yesterday we spoke about it, the purpose of Excel. I showed you how we can store the data and manage it in Excel, how we can analyze the data, right? We did a very small example of figuring out the number of transactions for each product. We even saw visualization part, but we did everything directly in Excel itself. So how is this generative AI going to help us? As of now, we are using ChatGPT, which is an external tool, right? We have not included it within Excel. We're using it as an external tool. Okay. So even if not as an external tool, you could also use it directly inbuilt into Excel. So I will use the same file that I have used in the previous session, coffee chain data. So here I stored this data in a tabular format. And I told you that when your data is in table format, you can use it. It is much more efficient that way. And also using tabular data in AI is much more user friendly than just a simple range of values. Okay, so we know that this is a table and we identified what is the number of transactions for each product. As I told you again, I am using ChatGPT as the generative AI tool that is going to help me analyze this data, etc. But if you want to keep it as an inbuilt feature, that is also possible. So when we go to add-ins, okay, Excel, when you go to add-ins, if you're using a Windows machine, then you will go to the file menu. On the file menu, there is something called as options. When you go to options and open it, you will have something called as add-ins. Okay, over there you can check out the various add-ins that are available for this purpose. Now, when you use these generative tools, the question that you ask or the input that you provide is called as a prompt, right? A prompt is a text that describes what ChatGPT should do, and prompt engineering is the art and science of defining appropriate and effective prompts. We also spoke about the various prompting techniques that are available. Zero shot prompting. What is zero shot prompting? Where it consists of giving ChatGPT a task without providing any examples. So you will use this technique if you want a quick answer. For example, what is Microsoft Excel? One shot prompting is where you provide a specific example to tell ChatGPT how to respond. So you give an example and ask for a response on similar lines. For example, if you want to know about Microsoft Excel, first I will describe Word. Let's say I know Word. So I'll say Microsoft Word is a word processing program developed by Microsoft, which allows you to create, edit, and format text documents professionally. So this is my definition of Microsoft Word. Now I will, by giving this as an example, I will tell ChatGPT, based on this definition, now you give me a definition for Microsoft Excel. So that is one shot prompting. Then we also have something called as what? Few shot prompting, wherein you will give multiple examples to the model, multiple examples pertaining to how it is supposed to work on that task and complete that task. It will help the model to better understand the context and the format of the desired response. Okay? Then we have instruction based prompting where you give explicit instructions to clarify the task. Okay, for example, explain what is Microsoft Excel to a 9-year-old. Explain it to me as if I were a 9-year-old or a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, whatever it might be. And then accordingly, it will tweak the response. Then we have chain of thought prompting. What is this? This is where you are like telling a story to GPT. Okay. It's like, imagine like whenever you're communicating with these GPT tools, just imagine like you're telling them a story step by step, and then you want some sort of a response based on that. So in chain of thought, what happens? It will help you to solve complex tasks that require logical reasoning. So how could you prompt it? To explain what Microsoft Excel is, first describe what spreadsheets are, then explain how Excel uses them to organize the data, and then finally give me an example on how it might help me to make a budget. So I'm providing a chain of thought. Start from here, then proceed to this point, and then finally give me a response to this particular point. Then we have dynamic prompts. Dynamic prompts is an interactive approach in which the prompt evolves as a conversation context changes. As the context keeps changing, you will meaning you will frame the next question based on the response that you get from ChatGPT. Based on the explanation, it will keep analyzing and it will keep giving you. Like in continuation to the previous example, I could say, based on your explanation, how might a spreadsheet be used to analyze a company's expenses? Okay, so we spoke about these different types of prompts that we could give. So Excel and AI for data management, for data analysis, and for data visualization, we can use them. So here for analysis, how to use it, I showed you by creating a pivot table and by writing formulas. But for visualization, I showed you by creating a chart, pivot chart. Now, we will make ChatGPT do the same thing. Before I proceed and show it to you directly on ChatGPT, I will just give you a quick idea about what are the different GPT tools or AI tools that are available inbuilt into Excel that you could use. But the problem is some of them, most of them, in fact, they need to be purchased. Okay, so where can you find these tools? As I told you, it will be there as an add-in. I'll go to insert add-ins, get add-ins. Okay, when we go to get add-ins, there are many different AI tools that are available for Excel. Okay. We have Chat GPT for Excel. You can add this as an add-in to your Excel tool. Okay. And then you could use it. But this will require additional purchase. It is not free of cost. GPT for Excel is another one. This will also allow you to bring ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude AI, many things directly into Excel and Word. This also needs additional purchase. There is something called as numerous.ai, which is an add-in that uses AI to make predictions, clean the data, and generate new insights, summarize, categorize, and classify the data. Okay, then you have Solver, Rosie AI, GPT for Excel. Okay, Autopilot is there. This is for free. You can try it out. It is an add-in that integrates different AI models in Excel. Different AI models in Excel. And it is better than Copilot, apparently. So when you click on Get It Now, you need to sign in, of course. You need to have a proper account with Microsoft. And you should use the same credentials to sign in here and include it into Excel. So whenever you purchase the license for Excel, right? When you purchase the license for Excel, with some email ID and password, you would have procured the license. The same email ID and password should be used to procure these add-ins as well. Okay, Power GPT is another one such add-in that is available. So as I told you, ChatGPT for Excel is there, GPT for Excel is there. Another thing to look out is Autopilot. Okay, then we have AI edit formula editors. So it will help you build the formulas. All-in-one solution for formulas and spreadsheets. Um, Explore is AI agent for Excel. Okay. So these are a few AI tools. ChatGPT for Excel, GPT for Excel, Autopilot, and the Formula Builder. Okay, Formula Builder is there. Um, so quite a lot of them are there, but all of these may not be necessary. Numerous AI, as I was telling you, this is also a very, very interesting AI prompt that can help you do predictions, clean the data, generate new insights, summarize, categorize, classify, cleanse. Lot of things it can do. Numerous AI. So these are a few tools to look out for. No, I will not be able to download this and show you because all of them need additional purchases and all. What I will do though is we will use ChatGPT, which is already externally present. Okay, or you can go to the website of ChatGPT and there you can upload your file. And after you have uploaded the file, you can ask whatever questions or insights you wanted to generate. Okay, this is the approach that we will take. Having said that, if you would like to use some tool, you want to embed the AI capability into Excel. If you might want to embed AI capability into Excel, then these are some tools that you could check out. What are they? Numerous.ai. Okay, then you can check ChatGPT for Excel. There is also GPT for Excel, all of them pretty much the same thing. All of them will help you to analyze your data, summarize your data, and all that. There is Autopilot. Okay, then you can check Power GPT. There is something called as Power GPT, AI Edit Formula Editor. Okay, then there's something called as Sally Suite, Ghostwriter. Okay, like this, there are many. These are a few, to name a few, which come in really handy if you would like to keep this as an add-in into your into Excel as an add-in. Okay. So Ghostwriter, if you take, it is an add-in for generating sample data. Okay, it is something that will allow you to generate sample data and translating the sheets, writing prompts, okay, generating formulas, then automating documentation, automating documentation. Okay, for such things. It is also available in Microsoft Excel and it is available in Microsoft Word as well. Okay, where you can generate reports, you can write documents, you can create inline comments on your content, and a lot of other things. Sally Suite, if you take, it is an add-in that uses AI to automate repetitive processes. Okay, this can be used specifically to automate repetitive processes. Okay, and it will allow you to create sheets or again sample data kind of thing. You can write functions with it, filter the data. Okay, create charts, recommend what charts can be created on that data, perform data analysis, and also generate Python code. It can also help you generate Python code if you have to. Okay. And AI formula editor, you might have guessed by the name of it itself, it is something that will help you in creating and optimizing complex calculations, complex formulas in Excel. Okay. It can also explain the and explain the formula and format the formula. Okay. It enables you to copy the generated formula directly into the cell. Whatever formula it generates, you can copy it and work very easily with it. Now, similarly, Power GPT also is similar. It is an add-in to answer questions from your data. You provide data and you ask a question, it will try to generate an answer to the question, just like ChatGPT for Excel. Decipher the formula with explanations in plain English. It generates formulas, creates SQL queries also from simple descriptions, and it can generate regular expressions, whatnot. Autopilot is one very interesting feature, one add-in that integrates different AI models in Excel, such as ChatGPT can be integrated within Excel using Autopilot. Google Gemini can be integrated. Anthropic Cloud can be integrated, and more. So it allows you to automate repetitive tasks again, pertaining to cleansing of the data, applying complex formulas, generating graphs, and all that. Okay. So like that, each of them have their own capabilities. Autopilot has a host of capabilities similar to ChatGPT, GPT, and PowerGPT. So these four are pretty much similar. Okay, they do pretty much the same thing. Anything you want, you can install. You can add it as an add-in within Excel, and you can use it. All right. So this was about what are the various add-ins that different AI tools that you could bring into Excel directly and work with it. Now, when is AI not going to be very useful to us? So far, yesterday and even now, I've only been talking about scenarios where Excel is useful, how you use Excel, what are the ways in which it helps you for analysis, management, reporting, and all that. But is there a scenario where AI cannot help me? AI can help me do a lot of things, but are there any limitations to its capabilities? Are there any limitations to the capabilities of AI in Excel? Okay, yes. There are two main limitations. First is when you're dealing with large data sets. Limitation is if you're dealing with large data set, though it is evolving with time, when you're working with large data sets, AI can encounter some difficulties. The difficulties would be regarding the performance and the accuracy. Because analyzing large data sets would require many resources and computational capabilities. AI model like ChatGPT, it may not it have that much for ordinary users. You will have to take premium license. Even with that, sometimes it may not be able to handle very huge data sets. So if you still want to use AI for large data sets, a better option would be to split the data set into smaller parts. Okay, you split the data set into smaller parts, and then you provide each of those smaller parts as input so that AI will be able to process it. Or you could filter unnecessary data. Filter unnecessary data that is not relevant to your problem statement. Okay, remove the columns, remove the rows that don't really are not necessary for your analysis, and then give that limited amount of data as input to AI. So this is one of the limitations. Second limitation is if you have low quality of data. Okay, again, no matter how amazing these tools, AI tools are, if the quality of the data is not good, if you provide incomplete data, noisy or poorly structured data as input to AI, then the quality of the results can negatively impact the model's performance. So it can lead to incorrect predictions, it could lead to distorted interpretations. So AI will have difficulty providing any valuable or accurate outputs if the data is not of good quality, if the data is missing or duplicated or it contains systematic errors. So there is going to be real difficulty. It will generate very poor output if the quality of the data is not good. Okay, so these two you can say are the limitations. Not having amazing capability while dealing with large data sets, not having an amazing capability when it comes to dealing with low quality data that is poorly structured. Poorly structured. So you need to make sure that your data is structured properly. If at all you give large data sets or you give low quality data, then what could happen? One of the two things: hallucinations. Second thing, bias. It can lead to these two. See, AI is not something that will come as a substitute to the human expertise. It is not here to replace the human. It is only here to help us enhance our work more efficiently, work faster, deliver good quality results in a better and efficient manner. So AI is going to help you. It is not something that will replace you. You cannot blindly rely on what AI generates. You need to have the expertise to decipher what it has generated, validate what it has generated. So how do you what are hallucinations? I'm saying hallucination will happen. How can AI get hallucinations? AI hallucination is what is AI hallucination? It is when AI generates, this is when AI generates fake information. It could generate fake information. And if at all you feel that it is generating fake information, the technical term that we give to it is called AI hallucination. AI bias is when AI produces unfair or one-sided results. So limitations of AI are there are n number of key tools that can help you in Excel, but the problem is if you're dealing with large data sets and if you're dealing with low quality of data, it might lead to AI hallucinations where it generates fake information. It could lead to AI bias where it produces unfair or one-sided results. So as where does the human aspect come into play? In evaluating these things. Okay, whatever output it's generating, you should have the expertise to evaluate and make sure that AI is not hallucinating and AI is not biased. All right, so how do you test this? How do you evaluate the results that are generated by AI? Okay, you let's say you provided a data set as an input, you asked for the response, you asked a few questions and it responded to your questions, gave you some output for analysis and all that. How do you evaluate the AI results? So one simple way is to evaluate whether AI is working well on your data. You can apply supervised learning of the AI without making errors. Means what? It involves testing the AI results on a subset of your data. Manually perform your calculations on some of the data using Excel. Then repeat the same calculations using AI. So you take a subset of your data, whatever questions you have in mind, first you try to get the output by yourself manually. Okay, you write the formulas and do it. And then you provide the same input to AI and let it generate the results for you, like I showed you yesterday. And compare them. Once you have consolidated the prompts for the AI and once you know that it has responded correctly to your questions, then you can perform the task on the entire data set. Okay, so you give a subset of the data on which you would have already manually performed all the calculations and analysis. Then same thing you will ask the AI tool to do, whichever AI tool you would be using, ChatGPT for Excel, GPT for Excel, Autopilot, Power GPT, AI aided formula editor, whatever it is that you might be using. Ask the same questions. See if it is producing the same result. If it is producing the correct result, as you might have obtained by manually doing it, that means you're good to go. That means you can go ahead, provide the entire data as input and use it. If there is any discrepancy in the results being generated, that is where the human intelligence comes into play, where you will go and check where things are going wrong and you will fix it. Okay. So that is how you will evaluate AI results. So these are very important things that you should remember. What are the limitations? What could it produce? And how do you evaluate the results? Now, what I will do is, let me go here and add that data set, coffee chain data set to Excel. I'm providing this as input. And then I'll have to give my prompt. So I would like to give a prompt for multiple activities here. Using the prompt, I would like to perform multiple activities. What was the first activity that I did yesterday? I asked it to build a pivot table for the product column. Okay. And the count of the number of occurrences of each product. Right? I asked it to create a pivot table like this for me. So by analyzing that data that I provided as input here, I've given a prompt. It is going to now generate an output. So I have the pivot table with the list of products and the number of occurrences of each product. Each one, how many times it has occurred, you can see there. It is telling that I created a pivot table that shows the count of occurrences of each product in your data set. Now you can now review and analyze how often each product appears, so on and so forth. I would like to go in a interactive mode. Okay. I want to go into the conversational mode. Now I will say, can you go ahead, format the original table and the pivot table that you have created? Okay. Format both of them as two worksheets, as two separate worksheets in a single workbook. Can you give me one output workbook? Give me a workbook that will have the original table well formatted and also the pivot table as two separate worksheets inside a single workbook. Okay, and I wanted to calculate the pivot data using formulas instead of just going with the raw data, whatever computations have come here, no values have come here. I wanted to calculate the pivot table using formulas instead of the raw data. Come up with that pivot table by using formulas instead of the raw data. Okay. And I want it to make the output downloadable as an XLS X file. So many instructions I've given. First, I wanted to format the original table and the pivot table. The pivot table that it is going to create should be based on formulas. And it is supposed to give me an output file downloadable in Excel format. Okay, so let me submit this prompt. See, I've formatted the original table and the pivot table into two worksheets of a single Excel file. Pivot table is created by using the calculated function countif instead of pre-aggregated values from the raw data. Okay. Now you see, would you like me to add a chart sheet like a bar graph to this workbook? I would say yes. Right. We did the analysis part. Let us even add one worksheet with the chart also. Let us also use this for data visualization part. So maybe I could just say yes now. Would you like me to add a chart sheet, bar graph for the count of products in this workbook? I would say yes, yes. Please go ahead, do that. So the updated workbook is now going to contain the original data sheet that is well formatted, pivot table, which is the result of the countif formula, and a chart that talks about the number of times each product has been sold. Would you like me to also apply data labels on the bar graph? Let's see what it created till here. Then we will see if data bar labels are necessary. Okay, so this is what it has done. Then it created a pivot table with the relevant output there, you can see. Okay, wonderful. And what did it tell? The pivot table is supposed to be based on formula, I said, right? So look at that. It is based on a formula. It is using the COUNTIF function, looking at the data present in column C with the names of the products and fetching where the data is Amaretto. So it thereby is telling me that there are 192 transactions for it, Colombian. And then we have Darjeeling, then we have decaf Irish cream. It is even well organized here, if you notice, green tea. What else? A chart. Look at that. A chart that is able to show the number, the count of products for each and every product type. Right? For each and every product. Now, what else? Yes, I would want to see data labels also. Would you like me to apply data labels on the bar graph? Yes. So it's going to redo. It's going to now even put data labels on the bar graph. Okay, let's see what we got what we got until this point. With the labels, what will it look like? So that's my pivot table, and this is my product chart. If you notice, this product chart has data labels also on it on top. You see 192, 480, 384, 288. In the previous sheet, it was not there. In this sheet, it is present. Okay. So see how user friendly it is. Even things that I was not able to think of, right? I didn't think of putting labels. All I wanted was a chart. I definitely wanted a chart. If it had not suggested also, I would have asked it to create a chart. But labels is something I honestly didn't think of. So it suggested, do you want labels? I said yes. Now let's say include the product type also in the graph. Include product type also in the graph. So I want it to somehow indicate the product type in the graph. Let's see whether it will be able to do it or not. It is grouped by product type. Yes, yes. That was my intention. I wanted it to be grouped by product type. Okay. So let's see what it has done. Here it has failed. Somehow it could not manage to bring product type. So what happened at this level only it failed. Okay. So when I tried to bring another field, somehow it is getting confused. It's unable to group it based on coffee and tea. Now what to do? Right now there's nothing we can do. Now here your human intelligence has to come into picture. So I'll go to my original data and I'm going to insert a pivot table. Okay, I'm going to insert a pivot table where I will create what I want. I wanted product type and then the product. Okay, or maybe we'll keep product type and then product. And then I also would like to know the number of occurrences of each product. So it is either tea or coffee. It cannot be both at a time. An item cannot be both coffee and tea at a time, right? It is either a tea related item or a coffee related item. Hence the confusion. Okay, hence the confusion. So now I know which of them are tea, which of them are coffee. There is utmost clarity there, and I have my data. Okay, I could even bring product type here and classify it like that. And now I could go and insert a pivot chart, maybe a clustered column chart. So this group is coffee and this group is tea. This group is coffee and this group is tea. Somehow ChatGPT could not do this. It could not really include product type. Now what to do? We may have to rephrase the question. Maybe rephrase the question, right? Now look at that. This is better. It is able to group them based on coffee and tea. So Amaretto is a coffee product. It is not tea. So that is 0 there. And then you can also see how it has color coded coffee and tea. Beautiful. I'm happy with it. I didn't think of it. I didn't think of color coding it based on coffee and tea, but it managed to do it for me over here. It has color coded it based on whether an item is a coffee related item or a tea related item. Now, do you want to export this pivot table and chart into a single Excel file like the previous ones? Getting it? So, it may not always be able to give you the correct response. You need to validate the response that comes up and rephrase your question if necessary until you get the correct output. This takes practice. Prompt engineering in itself is a large area uh, of study. There are prompt engineers being recruited by organizations, the sought after job role these days, where just by asking prompts like this to using different tools like Claude AI, you can use Perplexity, you can use Perplexity is there for free in India, right? For all the Airtel postpaid connection users. So you can just dump your data set over there. That will also be able to generate meaningful output. Okay, let me attach the file. Copy chain. Okay, this I'm doing on Perplexity. Ask something. So same question I will ask. Let's see what this will generate. Okay. So you could use any tool of your choice, is what I'm trying to tell you. You can directly input the file here and then ask your questions, or you provide the structure of the file to it very clearly with crystal clear explanation, and then ask questions based on the data. What insights can I generate? What kind of analysis can I perform on this data? What are the KPIs that I could identify from here? What are the key risk indicators or factors that you notice from this data? So you can use it from basic analysis like this to advanced analytics. It's all about the question that you ask. There. Beautiful, no? Group by products. Coffee are in one color, tea in another color, and it is showing the number of occurrences of each item. I could download this chart, could download the pivot table that got created. Okay. Now, now you can ask a follow-up question. Can you include labels on the chart? Can you? I can include labels on the chart. Adding labels to each bar to clearly display the count for better data interpretation. Creating the chart, you can see it is processing it. And see the amount of time it is taking. That is what I was telling you all about the limitations of the tool. There are about 2000 odd records over here, just 2000 odd records. And it's taking so much time for 2000 odd records. Now it has come along with labels 192, 480, 384, 288. Yeah. Again, you could export it, you can add a follow up question, so on and so forth. So just about 2000 odd records, and it took significant amount of time, right? Imagine when you give it a large data set. So when you're working using these AI tools in Excel, please do remember all the tools are amazing, but they come with a few limitations. If it is large data set, then that it could really give you some issues with respect to the performance. If there is low quality data, it could lead to AI hallucinations, it could lead to AI bias. So be careful, make sure that the data that you're providing is of good quality, it is well structured. Okay. And if it is a large data set, better to split it into smaller data sets, remove the unnecessary data, and then perform your analysis. And evaluating AI results, it is totally up to the human now. Okay, we can't have another model evaluate the results of one model. Of course, this is one way of doing it. I created the chart with, I got it using ChatGPT, and then I regenerated the same using Perplexity, and I'm happy with both because both of them have given me the same responses: 192, 480, 384, 384, 288, 288. Right? This is another way to cross check. This is another way to cross check. Huh. 192, 480, 384, 384, 288, and 288. Right? The numbers are matching, the names are matching, everything is perfect, which means in a way I have validated the correctness of the output that got generated here. Right? I did this using ChatGPT, then I repeated the same task on Perplexity, and I'm getting the same output. So yes, it is correct and accurate. This is one way in which you can evaluate the result of AI. Evaluating AI results. This is one way. Maybe use multiple tools and see if all of them are producing the same output or not. Another way, and a better or an efficient way, is take a subset of your data and you do everything manually first. Provide the same input to the tool and see if it's producing the same output as you generated. If both are matching what you have obtained as the output and what the tool has given you as the output, if both of them match, then you can go ahead, provide the entire data as input and get the output. Okay, because not everybody may have the privilege of using multiple tools to verify things, right? Uh, so yeah, this is something that you can keep in mind. As I told you, there are a lot of inbuilt add-ins, provided you are able to purchase them. You can go for the add-ins and you can get the add-ins. And I also gave you the list of some of the most useful add-ins that are there. You could try Autopilot because it is free. Rest of them all need to be purchased. Tomorrow when we meet, we will look at the AI functions that are available within Excel. Okay? Tomorrow we will see the AI functions that are available within Excel. Not through an external tool like ChatGPT or Perplexity, but the ones that are inbuilt into Excel is what I will show you tomorrow. So I will stop here. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we could end the meeting here and we will proceed tomorrow.